Good morning. Welcome back to Passionate World Talk Radio Network. Educate, enlighten, and entertain. And this morning on Cool Your Heels, we really have a special guest. Her name is Jackie Bortelette, and she is a woman for all seasons in the fashion industry, but she's also a fantastic photographer. She established the first fashion house, more or less, with her Haute, Ohio magazine. And
Mhm.
the most special thing that you need to know about her, ladies and gentlemen, and children and adults of all ages, is this lady every year puts on a fashion show with high school students who are interested in fashion, and she displays what they create.
Yes.
Isn't that fantastic?
Mhm.
Okay, we'll hold a little applause right now. So, good morning, Jackie. How are you?
Good morning. I'm wonderful, Lillian. Thank you. And yourself?
I'm doing pretty well. The sun
Good.
is finally coming out in Pennsylvania.
Oh, nice. We're getting your fog, I think.
A lot of that is transferred over from the fires in Arizona
Yes.
and
Yes.
California. So we all know that's happening. So you were the first to really go into Fashion Week. Joyce
Mhm.
made excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, Joyce is her PR person.
Right.
And Joyce really made me understand that you did this way before New York City got on the
Mhm.
bandwagon. So
Mhm.
what motivated you
Mhm.
to start something like this?
So I have my degrees in commercial photography. And 30 years ago, I received that degree. And my dream at that time was to work for a fashion magazine. Vogue was my dream, of course. But I was afraid to move to New York because I'm just a small, Midwest girl. And so, because I didn't have the wherewithal to actually go to the large markets, I did not have opportunity. So now, flash forward a number of decades, and the life has put it to me that I'm now at home as a stay at home mom. And I have the time and, of course, the experience now to be able to provide that opportunity for others that I never had. So, my goal is to provide 100% inclusion opportunities for people of all ages, all stages of experience, and to give them a platform to either showcase or to get their resume together or to be able to move to the bigger markets and have some real talent experience, real industry.
So, in other words, you are taking whoever is interested, but
Hmm.
basically girls, by the
Hmm.
hand and saying, okay, you're in high school, you're a sophomore, you're a junior, but you pretty much know in what direction you want to go. And these are the
Correct.
things you need to consider. So, how many of these young ladies actually move forward? Because I know that fashion can be an intimidating career. Like
Hmm.
everything else, it's very crowded.
Hmm.
And in order to you to stand out, you really have to have some kind of flair
Hmm. That's
that's
correct.
going to have you stand on the shoulders of the persons who are drowning beneath you in the ocean.
Yes. Yes. Unfortunately, there are times when you have to, kind of do what you have to do to get through the industry. But I do try to pride myself on ethical and, socially acceptable, business practices. I believe in the golden rule, and I believe business can be that way as well. But when you're young, especially students or people who are even considering going into an industry like this, you need to know the real industry before you move forward. Before you go and spend $100,000 at a college on, fashion design. Is it really something you want to try? It's just that's my job, is to provide that sort of on the job opportunity so that you can really get a feel for it and get a little bit better idea of whether it really is something you want to pursue, because it's expensive, and once you get out there, there's, not a whole lot of call for every single fashion designer in the world. So you really need to have some inroads, and you need to have, um, a unique flair that's different from everybody else.
So, what are some of the things you would suggest to somebody who's, I'm not going to say junior high, although there are some kids who are I mean, my son was
It's not junior high anymore.
not it's middle school. Sorry,
That's right. That's right.
I know. My granddaughter said, "Junior high?
Yeah.
What does that mean?" And I said, "It means you're not in senior high."
Mm-hmm.
No, 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 Grandma, get with
Yes.
it. It's
Right.
middle school.
Right.
And I'm going, middle school? What are you in the middle of? And I said, oh, between elementary and high school, before being a toddler and a young teenager. What am I thinking?
Mm-hmm.
So, what kind of courses? Because I'm pretty sure you're aware of what the high schools offer.
Uh-huh.
Or if you're homeschooling your children, ladies and gentlemen, people still do that way before the pandemic
Mm-hmm.
ever reared its ugly head. So,
Mm-hmm.
what are some of the things you would suggest for a boy or a girl who is
Mm-hmm.
interested in going into the fashion industry?
Mm-hmm.
Is sewing skills that important?
Well, unfortunately, at least in our area, sort of the non-essential classes are pretty much, a thing of the past. So everything from shop to sewing is gone. And for me, whether you're going into fashion design or not, you should know how to sew. It's a basic skill. And so I think it is a very important skill to at least know how to, sew on a button. Um, and if you're going into design, there are designers who don't sew, but very, very few who make it in this industry. So you really need to be able to sew at least your sample design so that others, ateliers, they're called, can sew the future designs for you so that they know your aesthetic, they know how you want seaming done, they know all of those personal things about how you design specifically. So it's important to know how to sew, absolutely. At least, functional sewing.
Absolutely. And do you take it a step further? For example, the TV shows that are
Mhm,
devoted to modeling the designs, which is an
mhm,
important part, folks. I know you
mhm,
think, all those skinny bunnies, but there are oversized people now who are
mhm,
wearing some beautiful designs by the major designers in the
mhm,
industry because
mhm.
I finally realized that us larger people do exist, even if they don't want to. And they need to have, I would say, are they a realistic version of what future designers who are interested in the field, is it a realistic
Yes.
sense of the industry?
I think it's definitely going to be important to not only know how to basically sew, but how to extrapolate designs, how to enlarge things and um, petite things, make things smaller. And I think that the future is coming, but the main markets still have a long way to go. While I applaud that they're at least opening up, they have a long way to go. And so, being that I'm in the Midwest and myself and like two other women are really spearheading the project to move forward with 100% inclusion. So every single thing I do, from the magazine to managing models to the How Fashion Week, we
Mm,
are 100% inclusive. So, all ages, all sizes, all genders, all walks of life, all challenges. If you want to try and you're willing to learn, that's the key. Are you willing to learn? Then we'll put you in the runway or we'll, photograph you and put you in the pages of Haute magazine. So, that is the future. Everything is going into sustainability and everything is going into inclusion. And I'm really excited about, the next phase of fashion is really going to be exciting.
so when you started a fashion show,
Hmm.
so how did it get started? What do the boys and girls need to know in order to maybe apply for it,
Hmm.
I would
Hmm.
think?
Hmm.
And how important is it for them to take what they then present to you to maybe have it as a portfolio?
Absolutely. So my fashion show is once a year. It is a black tie gala, and we have a lot of local and regional celebrities who attend. We even have some international fashion celebrities who come. Um, we are 100% inclusive in every discipline of fashion. So that includes hair and makeup, that includes coaches, that includes even textile artists. So models and designers, everybody is welcome. the most important thing is to submit to us with whatever you have picture wise so that we can see what your skill level is and if we can help you get out on the runway. So let's say you only know how to sew a straight line. Well, we can help you learn how to do a straight line type of A-line skirt so that you can show on the runway. And then you need to take those pictures and put them into your portfolio and just one after the other build. That's how you're going to be accepted into even an interview. You need to show a good portfolio. Even if you're starting, you still need to have a portfolio. So yes, absolutely important. You would email us directly, go through our website, hauteohio.com, HAUTEOHIO.com, and you'll find our links there. Go ahead and email us directly any pictures you have. If you want to get into modeling, email your measurements and your sizes, and we'll get back to you. You know, we are in the Midwest, and if you're willing to travel to us, we're willing to give you experience.
That's terrific, because I really think that if I was young and I was interested in fashion, I think the first thing I would try to do is get an internship with you.
Yes, yes.
And possibly then work my way up so that by the time and ladies, you don't have to go to college. There are a lot of fashion institutes that you really
Mm-hmm.
need to look
Mm-hmm.
into. Now, New
Mm-hmm.
York City is still the place to get
Mm-hmm.
your stuff at least acknowledged, or are there other cities, Chicago, LA, San Francisco?
There
How,
are other cities as well, but I
yeah,
think New York is sort of the best way into the industry. It's also the roughest way into the industry, which is almost a good teacher in and of itself. So I would say New York is what your goal is. You know, of course, Miami has an industry, LA has industry, but I would say New York is your goal to at least get through the door. Yes, absolutely.
so what does a person do if they want to start in New York City? I have no idea what a young lady or a young man would need to do.
Well, the most important thing is to network, which is part of what I provide. One of my biggest things is to provide opportunities for people to meet each other. So, in many cases, in the larger markets, they're very non-disclosure agreements. You're not allowed to talk to this person because they're not, part of your job. Um, in my industry, the one that I'm creating in the Midwest, I encourage networking. That's how the models from, Columbus, Ohio get to walk in Milan because they networked their way through it. You met so and so at Ohio Fashion Week, and then they took you to Miami, and then in Miami you met so and so, and from there you ended up in Toronto. That's how it happens. You need to have some kind of inroads to get in there, unless you're starting out at one of the big, like Parsons. Obviously Parsons already has the connections that can get you where you want to be, but even Parsons has, they have a lot of students, and not every student's going to get those advantages. So it's all about networking, getting yourself out there, being personable. The skills can come, you can learn those, you can practice those, but you need to be personable and hireable.
And I would think too, getting a mentor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yep.
my son's wife, that's exactly, she went out into the fashion industry and she had somebody said, hey, this lady is good. And she ended up being her mentor for 10 years. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that really makes a difference.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right, exactly. And if you're going to do that, make sure that you find someone who is really in the area you want to move into. Let's say you're into high tech fashion. That's a huge industry that's coming up. Three-dimensional printing that's becoming closed. You're going to want to find someone to mentor you through that type of industry. If you're into sustainable, you're going to want to find a mentor that's in that industry so that you can really study and learn. Those are all baby industries. So they're learning just like you would be learning. So you could help each other out through the way, and it goes down to networking again.
That's very interesting. So, Jackie, what are your advice to the
Mm-hmm.
generation that's coming up?
Mm-hmm. My advice is to be teachable. Do not think that you are knowledgeable about everything, because nobody is. Even, fashion designers who have been doing this for 30 years can learn something every single day. You need to be teachable. You need to be personable. Nobody wants to work with somebody who has attitude. So those are the more important things. The inner beauty is what's going to get you into the event and get you the job to be able to walk the show or to be able to even wardrobe the show. You need to work on what's inside. You need to learn how to interview. You need to learn how to talk to people and how to network.
Good. Well, thank you very much. I want to thank all of you this morning for joining us. And you can listen, or better yet, view this video all over again at youtube.com/passionate world talk radio. Or you can see it on facebook.com/passionate world network. Or you can see it on LinkedIn Live or linkedin.com/passionate world talk radio. And also, when the new website comes up, you can go over to passionateworldtalkradio.com. It should be up by next week, and I hope you take a good look. I want to thank everyone for joining us this morning. And please remember, there's still a pandemic out there, so wear your mask. I'm pretty sure they're going to make that part of the industry and possibly have it match the clothing that the model is wearing. So wear those masks. Thank you all very much and have a great day.